Welcome to the Inphamus Hour Live. I'm your host, the infamous Amadeuz, every single Thursday, facebook.com/BoomBapNation, as we are about to touch 2 million hip-hop fans live on Facebook. And of course, listen to me on SiriusXM Shade 45 every single Thursday, noon EST for the new hip-hop picks, and 3 p.m. EST and for the throwback classics. And of course, I have the lovely young lady on my right side. I guess if you're looking on the camera, it would be on the left. Miss Get Adam is here. What's up, Miss Get Adam?
I feel like Vanna White on here. What's up? What's up?
Season 4 for the Inphamus Hour. I'm super excited. It's only right that we started off the right way, keep it tradition and keeping it real hip-hop. West Coast legend, but really from the Bronx. Let's be clear. We're going to talk this real hip-hop. Kokane, welcome to the Inphamus Hour.
Man, appreciate you having me on, man. We'll talk.
I definitely appreciate you. So the Grammys just happened, right? Hip Hop 50 in Los Angeles. And I've been seeing some interesting clips with Jay Prince, and you kind of see them just go through social media about guys checking in when they come to LA, right? And this is, for New Yorkers, this is something foreign in a sense, right? Because you don't necessarily, you can kind of, New York is not a super safe place, but it's not structured like the terrain of LA, right? So when artists come into that scope, are they expected to check in? Should they check in? And what does that entail exactly?
Well, you know, words are very powerful. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, the play on words, I know that the meaning behind check in, it means check in with your loved ones so you can be safe. But, you know, I usually say tap in. You know what I mean? Because it has more respect to it, so to speak. And certain people would take it different ways. But, you know, I don't take it disrespectful, but, you know, at the end of the day, I like to tap in. I don't check into nobody but God. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day. And it's just like, you know, it ain't where you're from, it's where you're at, you know, but you want to be safe any place you go to because these are dangerous times. You know what I'm saying? People are getting popped really for silly shit.
Yeah.
It's just, you know, you always want to heed the warning wherever you're going. You just don't want to come to some place like it's Disneyland or some shit, you know what I mean? Because that's not happening. That's not reality. So
Yeah.
I would say, you know, with some people, they have the intentions on meaning that check in means to tap in with your folks. And then there's other places that probably don't understand that intentions and feel more like, well, I ain't got to check into nobody. So I think at the same time, we all talking the same language.
Yeah. That makes super sense. I think people don't kind of understand, and maybe you could give us some insight, because we have a lot of East Coast listeners here and viewers. So the terrain in Los Angeles, right? So you know, if you are visiting Los Angeles, where should you go and where shouldn't you go?
Well, it's all according to who you know, not just where you should go.
Major key.
You know what I'm saying? Because if you, like I said, you know, it's a crock of shit thinking everybody gonna listen to it because a lot of people got egos. But you know, that ego ain't gonna get you nowhere but potentially slumped. So the first thing, you know, if you any recording artist around the country, around the world, man, make sure you know you got a Rolodex of the right people, key holders, or key people that know the terrain, that can make sure, hey man, when you come to town, I'm gonna make sure you move presidential instead of emotionally. You understand? It's about, especially if you're a factor in the game. You don't want to run game goofy. It's just like when I go to the East Coast, or I go to New Jersey, for instance. I go to New Jersey. I check in with my partner, New Jersey Thread, Grape Street. And then I got some homies that are Bloods in parts of New York and different other shit. But that goes to show, you know what I'm saying? This is not a game. And a lot of people from the streets, you know, especially from the old school, we know that G code. There's a real G code to this shit. I know the internet kind of twisted it up and made it like romper room, but there's a G code to this shit that you got to follow. Some listen, some don't. You know what I mean? So it's not just about where you're going, it's about who you know before you go there.
Yeah. when you look at violence in hip hop, right? Because hip hop essentially was built on violence or describing violent environments, which was the reality of what was going on at the time. Do you think what we're seeing now it's always been that way? Maybe social media, with the way social media is, you see it more. Has it always been that way, or people kind of tripping and they're exposing it in a way that it may not really be?
Nah, it's been that way. Been that way. Anything that has a suppressed environment and that you live in, all the way, I would say after 1921, we had a chance. 1920 with Black Wall Street. But because of the high interest rates and different other things that they articulated uh, um, through putting people around, moving people around like cattle, people of color, that's the suppression. Right now, because of the internet, it just means it just got exposed on steroids.
Hmm.
That shit been going on. Marvin Gaye wasn't made up songs about what's going on.
Hmm.
So I think it was a scale up over the years because yeah, we were cool. We get like Black History Month. We had a month. Yeah, you cool. Put a pacifier around you. Get certain things. Celebrate certain things. But a pacifier don't answer some of the things in that suppression. And right now, it just whenever pressure gets at all-time high, pressure busts a pipe.
Mm.
And that's what you see that's going on. Pressure is busting a pipe everywhere. You know what I mean? Because whether you're religious or not, I'm not so much religious, more so the spiritual be.
Mm.
But these things are really manifesting itself, man. You know what I mean? And it's articulating through our hip hop, and everything else. Because back in the days, even when you had your hip hop, you had that, the backyard boogies was everything. And it all started with the DJ, number one. See, a lot of kids don't know that. It started with the DJ. Hip hop wouldn't be there without the DJ. That was an expression, but we had a balance. We didn't take it. Yeah, you had your little spurts in the 90s. You had your little spurts in the early 2000s. But now it's like, it's not even no big secret, man. You hear a kid get killed every time. And that's not hip hop.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Hip hop was meant to perpetuate a balance. It was meant like, I'm in the ring, you Ali, you Norman. We gonna do it, and then we're gonna come out on top and celebrate that. You know what I mean? So I think because of the Grammy, because it's pros and cons and everything, it is. Somebody gonna complain here, somebody gonna say yay here. But the positive part about the Grammys is that it show that, hey, we can articulate that balance again. Because that's one thing we had in the 90s, brother. And not to say versus this new generation is better or ours or vice versa, because that's running around in circles, right? But at least you can hear a Chuck D and then you hear NWA, fuck the police, and they were both popular because it hit the suppression. It hit where people started this culture in that suppression. So that's the good part about it. And, all you need is a few good people talking about it. You need your pillars continuing to put that love and express out there that, hey, I don't have to agree with you all the time. But at the same time, I respect where you came from, you know what I'm saying, and where you're going to. That's one thing that we had in the 90s is that we had a balance. It ain't about, say, the Lung Foundation. If you talk like this, you talk like this, you worry like this, you talk love songs like Positive K, Heavy D, whoop whoop. It was all a collection, and they were both popular. At one time, and we talked about this, it became a gossip-orientated business.
Yeah.
As opposed to the authenticity of hip-hop and bars and storytelling like Rick the Ruler. Now it's coming back to that because hip-hop, I think, is a divine piece of music and composition. It's the lifestyle of the world now. Whether you're doing in sports, whether you're doing anything, is hip hop is the number one music now. So I think it's a chance for us all to put some of our egos aside, put your ego in your pocket, put it in your blunt, smoke it later, and let's continue. You know what I'm talking about? Let's continue. You know what I mean? To raise our consciousness, because at the end of the day, when you're Treacherous Street 3 and all these bad boys and all these Rick the Ruler and all the, you know, X-Clan and all, man, NWA, Ice-T, LL, and, you know, it was a consciousness about hip hop. So I think we're getting back to that. And I really am optimistic about what came out of the Grammys as far as a pro instead of
Yes, that definitely was shown last night. It was definitely shown into a bigger platform. Everyone was able to express the timeline that they did from the 80s all the way to now. Definitely was a dope expression last night.
I think one of the things that me and Miss Get Adam appreciated most about our trips to LA was that we both felt, and you can agree with me on that, that LA has done a great job of preserving the original sound, right? The sound of some of the younger guys that are still rapping is not that far off from what we were hearing once the tempo started to go down in the 90s. Because when you listen to like a NWA, the BPMs were probably like 101, 103, and then at some point it kind of went down during the Death Row run, right? And I was watching a lot of guys in LA, and I'm like, damn, these niggas are still rapping.
They still got it the same way.
And when you come
tell you something that's intricate, and a lot of people don't know that, and it's a fact. When we came to Ruthless Records, you know, Dre taught us a lot above the law. He taught everybody a lot. Man, that man is a master. We used to walk in the room, hear Dre cutting on the SP2. Man, he's just a genius. But the good thing about Ruthless Records, it was a combination of great people. You had L.A. Dre, rest in peace. You had Yella. You had Hutch. So when we came and you hear the NWA stuff, it was mostly like a West Coast version of the Bomb Squad. To express yourself. But one of the cats that were very instrumental over there and kind of sparking something different with Dre, and Dre sparking something different with him, was a cat named Code 187, who happens to be Willie Hutch's nephew, who happens to be my cousin.
Really?
So, yeah. So what they were doing over there,
we got married to Willie Hutch.
You sure did.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah. So what Above the Law were able to do is slow it down, really tap into, you know, the different styles of funk music, because that's where we come from. And Dre was doing a lot of funky stuff over there, but it was inspiration for elevation. You know, we were all inspiring each other. You know, I look back years later, B, and I'm like, wow, man, that was some incredible times to see E and even see, rest in peace, Jewel at that time. This was when Suge was our bodyguard back then, DOC's bodyguard, right? Wasn't no Death Row there. So it was a trip to see the whole thing transpire, 91, and then things along the way get mixed up. And, you know, then at the same time, being able to see Snoop Dogg and being able to see Nate Dogg coming out the Armed Service. Warren G took him up to Above the Law studio to audition in 1990. People don't know Above the Law was going to put Snoop on.
Major kill
first. You know what I'm saying? This real talk. But the whole mess up just got messed up. So you can kind of tell, because Kokane is still on the Deep Cover soundtrack. I got a cover there called Nigga Slick Nigga. Yeah. So at the end of the day, it's a trip because everybody was friends. It's just like a lot of people got the misconception that, man, when Eazy see Dre or Dre see Eazy in traffic, it's on, nigga, boop, boop, boop. Wasn't like that. They see each other in Calabasas and go, hey, what's happening? All right. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, we were all family. And there was a lot of poison being put in people's ear and different other things. And it turned out like that. So the Ruthless, Eazy E, Dr. Dre, NWA period, that whole camp were very important model to your Death Rows, to your Aftermaths, to your Shady Records. It goes on because from that tree, it not only changed lives, but it created a multi-billion-dollar industry to where it was a cornerstone piece on why hip hop is doing what they're doing. Because years later, you got Master P that copied the blueprint, you got Cash Money that copied the blueprint, and so forth. So it's dope that we get to share these type of things. You know what I mean? Because some people speculate, but it ain't nothing like hearing something from someone that was actually a participant and was there.
Yeah. No.
Yes, from the source. And let's not forget the Grammys they actually did an acknowledgement of that because they gave Dr. Dre the inaugural Global Impact Award.
Yeah, Dr. Dre Global Impact
And
Award.
you can imagine that. Imagine that with Dr. Dre, man.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah.
Imagine that with Dr. Dre. And I'm proud of Dr. Dre because I seen him come a long way. I'm proud of everybody. You know, your brothers fight, brothers make up, brothers realize this. That's just part of life. But I'm extremely proud. But also, I put up a post like, wow, it was all because a real gangster. And I'm going to put up my money. And years later, I see Dre, Snoop, all of us, all because that man said, look, man, I'm going to put this money out.
Yeah, isn't that amazing?
You know what I'm saying? So it's like a lot of people will do Eazy, get the credit he deserve or don't. I think he do because you see Dr. Dre up there winning the Lifetime Achievement Award. So that's the answer.
And it's from the same tree, obviously. Yeah. Yeah, it's from the same tree. So let's go back to the original beginning of history of Kokane. So we found something interesting that me, you, and Miss Get Adam birthdays are. Well, I'm one day. He's one day after me, and then
I'm 7 days later.
And the year, so we all know what type of time we on. Pisces.
We
gang,
on Pisces gang.
The people that rule the world. But you were born in the Bronx, right? So just talk about early Bronx childhood in the 70s, right? Is this the Bronx is burning version of?
Oh man, we was in the Bronx. I moved when I was like 3 or 4.
Okay, so this is early. Okay,
early, but I remember adamantly walking in the hallways, cold, big ass rats.
Shit ain't no different.
And at that time, my father is the great Jerry Buddy Long from Motown Records, one of the greatest writers, arrangers. So wrote songs like Just My Imagination, Papa Was a Rolling Stone. So he had work in LA. He had to go to Detroit, and then they migrated to LA. You know what I mean? And but I'm proud of my East Coast roots because when you look at it, the actual guy that drew the blueprint to what we used to call reality rap, but white folks call it gangster rap. So we ran with it, was Ice-T. You know what I'm saying? It's East Coast all day.
Yeah.
You look at Tupac. Tupac, East Coast all day. You look at Kokane, East Coast all day. So that one line that Rakim is one of my favorite lines in the world. It really ain't where you from, it's where you at.
So when you look at where you come from, your parents being a part of this Motown greatness, right? And then you inserting yourself into a gangster hip hop realm. Was there any conversation or maybe, like from your parents saying, this ain't music at any point?
Man, this is the music industry. This is worse than dope game. Fuckers getting clipped, all kind of shit. It been going down, since Sam Cooke days, homie. So it's not like, at the time, Motown was ran different, put it like that, because I don't want to shit on them. They're different now. You know what I mean? But back that time, you can get your legs broken, want to get your chips. But it's different now. A lot of companies are like that, and that's positive. You're different, But we didn't reap the benefits. I lived in the hood. I lived in the hood. We moved to Los Angeles. My mom at that time, unfortunately, she was on drugs and different other things, lived the lifestyle, hung out with Marvin, knew all them, Smokey, and I was just like, going through that suppression. So it was the blessings from my grandmother and my grandparents. And something special about those that are raised by grandparents. It's just beautiful. She decided to take full custody of me and my brother and my sister, and we moved to Pomona. And my grandmother was trying to get out of the boiling pot because she lived in LA in the boiling pot. But Pomona was way worse than that because it was a small town with a big name. And a lot of cats migrated out there in the late 60s and the early 70s. So I grew up in Pomona, you know, same place with Sugar Free, same place with Sugar Shane Mosley, same place where Above the Law, you know, grew up. And it was tough, man, because, you know, when you're a small town or borough or whatever, you got to kick up the most dust because motherfuckers be coming through like, oh, y'all country. That's what they used to say. Y'all living in the country. But yeah, man, Pomona used to kick up major dust out there. And we had a outlet though to do music. It was a spot called the Grand Central Station. And Rakim, Salt and Pepper, the K-Day Mix Masters, you know, everybody used to come out that way because the thing that connected us West Coast with East Coast hip hop, y'all couldn't keep y'all music on the shelves out on the West Coast. When the show came out and all that shit came out, and you know what I'm saying, during that time, man, we were one of the biggest markets for y'all because it didn't matter, you know, even in the crack era and all that shit. You know, of course, we had our mix master Spades and Toddy T's, Ice T's, you know, spinning off the Schoolie D's and all that, and NWAs and King T's and Fools. But man, motherfuckers was banging to the Fat Boys. Rick the Ruler. Shit, man. But then that lets you know, man, it you know, it ain't where you from, it's where you at. And that's how we grew up, man. And, you know, banging to pop lock and breaking, because half the niggas I knew in my hood used to pop lock and break.
B-boys.
Yeah, B-boys. You know what I'm saying? Turn to D-boys. And that's how we, you know, kept going. But music was a big outlet. And a lot of people from LA and New York, you know, used to come out there to get down and sell their records. I remember we booked Kumo D out there. You know what I'm saying? One of the homies took the money though, but I remember we booked Kumo. He was cooler than the motherfucker. And he did that cut the Wild Wild West. He was like, oh shit, God, that shit banging. That was back then. That showed you the love was real, man.
Yeah. So at some point, you meet Eazy, right? And you start as a writer. What year was this? 89 or 88?
This was 89 when I first met Eazy through Laylaw. I was signed originally to a production company. We did a 3-song demo, and Eazy wanted something different. At first, he was going to put out Ice Cube record because he wanted to put out Ice Cube record. He was putting that together. But when Above the Law came, that kind of put a bad taste. A lot of people don't know that in Cube's mouth. You know what I mean? Because Cube felt that he was a major writer, rightfully so. But then the universe had something
different,
bigger, not better, but different.
Different.
You know what I'm saying? It's crazy how the universe. So when Above the Law got put on, Eazy wanted to do something different because he realized the success of JJ Fad. See, a lot of people don't know they was up for a Grammy. And they weren't even invited to the thing, but that's another story. JJ Fad, the girls, man, everybody talk about the dude, the girls, the summer, that style where Busta Rhymes and Eminem do, that came from that right there. So Eazy wanted to go back, man. I got the DLC, I got all these groups, Blood of Abraham. I discovered the Advent Clan, who were the Black Eyed Peas now. They were called the Advent Clan with Ruthless Records, but I am. And I want Above the Law. I need something that's crazy, man. So we did that 3-song demo. Hut shot in the track. And Eazy said, man, this is so different because you sound so much like George Clinton and you busting and you got all these different styles. It's going to work. So it didn't take long. Thank God, it didn't take long for me to get signed. because Eazy felt, man, this is the next wave of artists out there because he's cocaine. Warning, listening may become addicted. So Eazy got a thrill out of it. The whole camp did. And that's how I got put on in '89. And I just was a writer, man. I was hungry. Like, if you put me on the court, I ain't got no excuses, B. I'm gonna put my nuts on your chin. That's how I was with that pen.
Hey,
Talk your shit, man. Talk your
So
shit.
it just happened. It fell out like a snowball. Put it like that, snowball effect.
I remember when I was telling people in my circle that I was going to interview Kokane, and I've been talking about you for a while. My guys were talking about the Inner City Hoodlum record, and it's actually not under the name Kokane. It's under Who Am I? Right. So why was it? And we spoke about this a little bit before this. Why was it exactly that? Because that's your only project under this alias. So what was the executive decision to say, okay, maybe we can't use the word cocaine for some obvious reasons? And then how did you feel about transitioning over to this name that you wouldn't even use long term?
Well, the name was given to me by my cousin because he said, you know, we got to change your name. I was B-Boy J Golden because I got funny color eyes. That was my grandmother name. Don't laugh. That was my grandmother name. You know what I'm saying? But he said, man, you cocaine because we're going to do this folk shit. And woo woo. And I think every Michael Jordan or Kobe Bryant needed Phil Jackson. That was my Phil Jackson, straight up. So once we start working our elements and different other shit, it just became natural, you know, for me to do what I need to do. And back when Above the Law did their stuff, Living Like Hustlers, which was one of the most prolific albums because that was the first time you ever heard words like chronic. All it actually came from our camp. You know what I'm saying? So it was cool back then because Eazy, you know, I seen Eazy go from a little bread box to that big ass office in Calabasas. And he, like I said, he was considered our West Coast Russell Simmons because he was the one, business-wise, administration-wise, to make a big, gigantic deal with Above the Law, myself, and a development group that Dr. Dre had called Poor, Broken, Lonely, which Chris the Glove was in, who he have a heavy hand on the Chronic. And a lot of stuff did work for Dre. That's family. Shout out to Chris the Glove. And back when we were going to put on our project, everybody loved because I came out with a cut called Nickel Slick Nigga. And it was dope. The whole streets was spilling and it was made from cocaine. But like so many months before, you know, the FCC laws was coming down and, you know, NWA already got, you know, a little pass with that controversy. They said, no, we don't want you to play cocaine. That's too horrible of a name. Even when we had shit like, well, we don't spell it like Coca-Cola, which y'all used to put Coke in the product and never changed the name. We changed K-O-K-A-N. They wouldn't hear that even if this shit was right. You know what I'm saying? So we I signed a deal and was finna come out with a project called Addictive Hip Hop Music. And that was a classic album. A lot of people don't know, man, about that project. And all of a sudden, the executives over there changed my name to Who Am I? Man, that got Eazy, Laylaw, Hutch, myself, the whole Above the Law camp, Jerry Yeller, got him so mad because that was one of the significant reasons why he took his business somewhere else. And at the same time, Dr. Dre was going to produce on that album with Epic, and we were trying to do a deal with a Michael Jackson beat that Hutch sample, and Dre was going to touch on it. They tried to get clearance of that because we were label mate to Epic Records. Michael Jackson's gangster. Michael Jackson said, no, I know who Cocaine is, and we'll go ahead and give him a pass. But Dre, you gotta give me 8 beats and no publishing. It was like, well, Epic Records. So the whole thing, it left a bad taste at the same time. That's during the time all this shit is happening. 91 come out. The breakup is starting to happen. Snoop audition, and Nate, Warren G brought him up there to audition in 91 in La Cienega. All this shit was happening. Cube was doing his thing. Then in 92, it just happened like that. Everybody left and did their thing. And we stayed, above the law, and Kokane stayed with Eazy E because, yeah, there was kind of some discrepancies with some paperwork. But Eric was willing to get that right, and he got that right. But see, everybody was set on doing their own shit, and especially seeing Cube do his shit. Because I ain't gonna lie, homie, when we used to go in the clubs, motherfuckers used to be like, God damn, that song beat. God damn, I heard y'all set it off. Used to be stuff. I was like, E, you ain't gonna say nothing, nigga. You know what I'm saying?
You ain't gonna have an answer to that.
Yeah, so all that stuff was transpiring during the 90s. And going back to 91, they called me, who am I? The whole camp got mad. We didn't get the Michael Jackson clearances for that shit. And Eric was like, nah, I'm gone. And eventually, he landed this business. Shout out to Alan Grunblatt, that's the homie, over there with Relativity Records. You know, that was the first time he heard Fat Joe, Common Sense, and the first time he heard Bone. Bone got signed. And I came out with a second record, which changed, you know, drastically and sonically. It's called Punk Up on a Rhyme. And I had a project over there all along with those cats. And I just posted stuff on my Instagram. You could see we did a song in 93 called It's the End of the World, Eazy E. And you can see Bone Thugs and Harmony. They just got off the bus in that video. So the whole revelation is just a trip, bro. You know, I can go on for days and talk, but I damn sure, you know, it's just a trip, man. Put it like that, bro.
Yeah. One of the things about this project you got to appreciate getting the Dope Boy sound clearance on that Soul to Soul Back to Life, which now is like one of the top records of the 80s. But listening to this project in retrospect, this was kind of the first time that on the East Coast we heard pimping. Like, because people will talk like pimp shit. Like, I mean, there was some guys on the East like Kool Keith. I mean, there were some, but you know, you were blatantly like pimp mentality, big old pimp. And now knowing people from your area, this is kind of a thing where people are from. Like Sugarcane is there, obviously you're there. So the pimping culture is prevalent where you're from, correct?
Absolutely. I mean, it's the same thing. Like East Coast hip hop got accepted real big on the West Coast. You know, I done sat up in powwow with George Clinton, Uncle Bootsy Collins. You know, I was seasoned. And they said, man, we came out to the West Coast and everybody was funky. It's all about the funk. Like he said, I don't care if you do hip hop. Hip hop is based on funk. Them James Bond records is funky. You know what I'm saying? So it's a trip how you see things in the East Coast, in Detroit and Ohio, but it was a big ass melting pot, you know, in Cali. And eventually we mixed it up. It was chemists wanted to express the lifestyle where we came from, and that's how it came about. You know, you look at cats from the Yay area, you look at Filmo Slim. I mean, the pimp is big out here. They've been peeing for a long time, so it ain't just innocence on us. You know what I mean? And that's how, you know, we wanted our music. We used to listen to a lot of Donald Goines. I used to read a lot of Donald Goines books, Last Poets. I was into the Flip Wilson. I was into the Richard Pryor, Dolomite, Blowfly. And we just said, man, this fly, if we can articulate this with some dope ass smoky music. And that's how we started.
For sure. You're watching right now. This is the Infamous Hour. I'm your host, the Infamous Amadeuz. We are actively scanning the chat for questions and comments. I have Miss Get Adam here in the building. How you feeling today? We're drinking Casamigos.
Yeah, we're keeping it, you know, kind of different today. Usually I like my cognac.
Yeah,
you know?
no, not today. We have the legendary Kokane in the building. Now, another thing, looking back at your career, the whole being involved in movie soundtracks, right? Because you were on the Deep Cover soundtrack, and now this is a cult hip hop classic film and soundtrack. When you look at like sync licensing in general, how much is this underappreciated when it comes to lyricists and just people in the hip hop and general music community? Because there are guys who literally make a living off of sync licensing.
Oh, that's smart. You know, it's like, you know, do you want to continue to be moved around like cattle, trying to go in the same elevator?
Mm.
Bunch of haters? Nah, man, you got to go out, be open-minded. There's things that I'm involved in. I do voiceovers. There's licensing deals. There's sync fee deals. You know what I mean? There's all kind of ways that you can put your music out there to where you don't have to focus on just Facebook and this, or I'm going to do that. You know, it's too saturated.
Mhm.
You know, it's good to go on the back alley sometimes and say, "Hey, man, let me explore this venture," because you never know where it take you unless you try. And there's a lot of things where you can get paid. It's just not three ways. There's because of the computer now. There's 100 different ways to get paid. You just got to find that out, and according to the source that you know, maximize that. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, I'm just being honest, all sperm cells don't get to the egg, Playboy.
Mm.
So if you feel like you gonna burst some shit, well then mash up. You know what I'm saying? And that's the way it is, you know.
Yeah.
But it's ways that if you keep an open mind about a lot of shit and just put the blunt down and use your mind, you know what I mean? You never know where it takes you.
Mm. What was the temperature like being on Ruthless after you guys switched over to Relativity? Your second album comes out, I believe, in '94, Funko Pub of Rhyme, and then
Mhm.
Eazy passes away the next year, right? So how does that transition and does that loss? I mean, it affected hip hop so much looking back at it now, it's almost 30 years. But how did that affect you personally? And just in general, what was the climate around Ruthless just at this time?
Well, it's crazy, man. I'm gonna tell you a story leading into that. We did excuse me. We did the project Uncle Rhyme, and we worked on some easy stuff. And I'm telling you, we was having a sit down. It was me, Jada Pickett, Eazy E, and Hutch. We had a video to do called California off the project called Uncle Sam's Curse, blah blah blah. And we was at the House of Blues on Sunset, brother, and Eazy was coughing. And it was like, man, what's going on with you, bro? Why you coughing so much? And we was clowning, and he never would tell us because Eazy had bronchia, natural bronchia. You go to his house, he had ginseng everywhere and boo, 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 boo. So, you know, Jada Pinkett was my homegirl. Her and Regina King, that's the homegirl. You know what I'm saying? So she was doing videos at that time, and Easy kept coughing. It's like, oh, he's just the asthma. Go check it out. But something was a little bit different, bro. You know what I mean? And we was like looking. I was like, damn, you all right? He was like, I'm all right. I'll be all right. I'm gonna get at y'all later. And he said some sentimental stuff to me, and I was like, nah, that's not like E. And then I think a week or two passed, and we heard the news. It was like, huh? Because he wasn't that bad. But then all of a sudden, he moved from this to blatantly, stuffing it, desperately shape. Like,
Mm.
how does age do you like that? Man, I was the Magic Johnson still living. A lot of people still living.
Mhm.
It's fucking
It
crazy.
just questioned us like, wait a
Oh,
minute, and we didn't want to get in deep, with the situation because certain shit, I just keep my mouth closed. It is the way it is. You know what I mean? But um, it left a bad taste in our mouth because that was our lifeline to everything. Assets start freezing up, money start being held up, people got families. You know what I'm saying? Number one, the right family. To all the artists out there. So I was like, it's over with. Once Easy E passed, I was like, I'm out of here, man.
mm.
So when I left, I signed a deal with Scotty Brothers, and me and Yella, we did an album called One More Nigga to Go, and we put on there "This Is for the E" in remembrance of our homeboy Easy E. And prior to that, it was a nice funeral. They played No Pain, No Gain. It was just like real touching, homie. I don't care if you're the hardest gangster, homie. We had crocodile tears, homie. And it was a trip because that was my lifeline. I can go to E with anything. E took care of his artists. I don't care. You hear some things to be, nah, Eazy was a real nigga. He cared for his artists. And then just, I didn't want to do it for a little bit, but then I had a family and I love music. Music is in me, not on me. So I used to go around studios, like whether Too Short in the studio, E40, or this person. And 10 times out of 10, man, I was just blessed and fortunate that they put me on. And it created a safe haven, you know, so I could, you know, primarily put food on the table, do this hip hop music, and get my name out there even more, you know. And then the next year, when Tupac got out of jail, you know, because Tupac been close with us since 1990. You know, we had mutual management, him and Shock G, you know, this cat named Atria. You know what I mean? They used to do a lot of bookings on NWA, Digital Underground, so forth. So he always used to come to the studio. I even put up a post with us in the 90s, performed it. That was my nigga. Him, Thug Life, everybody used to hang with us. And going back to 96, you know, it was a trip because we rolling down the street and I'm with Spice One after doing a song at Ice-T's house. He used to live on Sunset Plaza up in the Hollywood Hills. We did a song for the Ant Bank Project. Shout out to Ant Banks and Ice-T. So we driving down Sunset and I see this bald head with this rose pull up to the side, me and Chico. It was like, what's up? Man, it was instant, man, because Pac was fam, you know what I mean? Real talk. And we went and did a song with Gaddafi, rest in peace. Some of the members of Outlaws went to Can-Am studio, and he said, I want to do a song that a lot of people, you know, was going through. You know what I mean? He said, I want to do a song called Fortune and Pain, something we all adore. And that was the actual last song that I did with Tupac. That was the last song that he did.
Yeah,
You know?
I saw Spice One talk about this, and when we were in LA, when we did the thing with Idi Amin at that club, he was telling me the same thing, that this, I guess this record was his final.
It was the last one.
That was his last record, man. Because we next day we went to the Jim Belushi. Him and Jim Belushi had a movie. I forget that movie. And he was like, look, man, I'm going to New York, and then I'm gonna come back. I gotta go to Vegas, and then we're gonna set this One Nation up, because he was assembling everything. Pac was on his shit, my nigga. He was assembling everything, and I was like, all right. I couldn't go to New York because I had to push my record for Riders Only, and the record I had with Yella at Scotty Brothers, 96. And then I said, when you get out of here, we're gonna mix it up again and all that shit. And this time, man, don't be arguing, because last time I went to his house, he was arguing with Quincy Jones' daughter, like blah 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 blah.
Yeah,
I was
because I
like,
think it was
let's get to
dated.
work.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, real shit. I was like, let's get to work, my nigga. He said, all right. And then when he went to Vegas, I hit him. He hit me back. He said, yeah, we're gonna get seasoned. And then the next day, I got a call from Be Legit. Shout out to Be Legit. That's my loved one. He said, man, did you hear? I'm like, what? He said, Pac gone, man. I thought he was playing, because we always joke around. It's like, nah, man, Pac gone, bro. This time he gone. So I turn on the TV and everybody's looking on me, and it just, my whole body dropped. Like, took the air out of me, on me, like, and it just was like messed up, because here I am. Eazy E died a year, and that had an impact on us. And now this shit happening. It was just a crazy time.
Yeah.
It was incomprehensible sometimes how we got past that shit, but we did. You know what I mean? We knew, you know, he's in a better place. You know, saying? And he right up there with E, so that kept us going and kept the flag going on the battlefield. Kept the flag up.
Yeah. Is there any truth to the suggestion, right? When you watch the Straight Outta Compton film, there is a scene where Suge and Eazy, I guess they basically jump them in the studio and they're saying without saying this rumor that has been going on in hip hop for 30 years that they injected him with a needle that had the AIDS virus. Is there any truth to that? Is it just overblown myth?
Man, so a lot of stuff is overblown myth. No one is that powerful. Should run that powerful.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? It's if anything, I would say it's deeper than that.
Yeah.
Tell you.
Interesting. And I saw on YouTube, I guess this is on your channel, there is a video of you and Code 187 performing with Pac in Atlanta. What year was that?
Shit, I think that was the beginning of '91.
Oh, so this is early on. He's still kind of on the East Coast at this time.
Yeah. It was a long time ago. It's like, right when he was about to do the movie he was supposed to do the movie with Menace, but he beat up the twins.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? Which was from Pomona. We know them niggas, little square ass niggas. We know them niggas, and back when he did Juice, his name was everywhere and all that shit. That was my road dog, man. Pop was our road dog for sure.
Yeah.
And when he got out of jail and just did the All Eyes on Me, it was just like it didn't surprise me because people look at Pop like All Eyes on Me. No, look at Pop. That's Juice, the star. He was already cracking. And then when Snoop invited him and Suge invited him on the label, it just was no one knew it was gonna do what it was gonna do and how prolific it was gonna leave a statement.
Mm. I've had multiple conversations with people about the One Nation album, and I'm sure there's records somewhere. They may have divided them between his catalog. I think he has like 7 albums after he died. Better Days is the one that you're on, I believe, right?
Yeah.
With that record. Do you think ultimately hip hop would have been different had that One Nation project ultimately dropped? Because when I look at hip hop from a radio perspective or just a media perspective, the deaths of Pac and Big ultimately changed the direction of record labels, where it almost kind of felt like they perpetrated this idea that there was this whole war that didn't exist between two coasts, right? And then our 2 biggest stars, we've never had this before in hip hop. I mean, there's been guys that have died, guys died every year. We have not had our 2 biggest artists die from violence. And it kind of just felt like after that, hip hop record labels just didn't want nothing to do with it anymore. So they started shifting to Southern artists. They stopped pushing gangster culture. They started pushing snap, crackle, pop music, and then introduced auto-tune and tried to get everybody out of it. But had this One Nation project actually came out, do you think hip hop would be different?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I give a lot of love to Jay, but they would have been equally matched, him and Pop.
Mm.
That boy was in it. He was on the hunt for equity. Trust me. And if he was alive, he would have been giving it. Like, if Biggie was alive, it would have been, I'm telling you, it'd have been something else. They'd probably have a whole nation in Africa right now. They were that powerful. Like, easy powerful. But when you think in terms of Pac and Biggie, they were some of the most 2 powerful. You talk about paradigm shifting cultures and shit. Come on, bro. I mean, if that nation was alive, come on, bro. We already know. It would have been incredible. He would have stayed on his business. He was coming into his own view. Maybe it could have articulated more of a family, because a family structure really keep you grounded. him getting into the right energies around him, and him and Biggie being able, imagine just him and Biggie just being able to say, man, nah, man. It'd have been incredible, man. Who knows, bro?
Yeah. Jesus Christ. This is the Infamous Hour. I'm your host, Infamous Amadeuz. Kokane is here. Miss Get Adam is here as well. We are live right now, facebook.com. Kokane here on the Infamous Hour. We have a top 5 segment. We've had top 5 fast food sandwiches, which is my actual highest watch show, if you believe it or
That's
not.
incredible,
I've had
too.
every OG on here, from Kokane to Cool G Rap. Top 5 fast food sandwiches, for some reason, is the hottest topic. But your question today, young gentlemen, top 5 West Coast MCs all time.
Man, that's a difficult one.
He always give you the difficult ones.
He's the guy to ask.
Can we do 10?
We can do 10 for you, definitely, yeah.
Mon Ninja.
He want to make sure he don't miss anybody.
And no disrespect to nobody. Pac.
Pac.
Pac would be my number 1. Ice Cube.
Ice Cube.
Ice Cube. Nipsey Hussle.
Nipsey Hussle.
Mm-hmm. Kendrick.
Kendrick. What just won a Grammy?
Yeah. Nephew learned. He soaked it up from Compton.
Yeah.
E40.
E40.
Got history with Earl. Shout out to Earl. Definitely Too Short. Pimp guy. One of the coldest, man, is getting his just due, man. Rightfully so, is Sugar Free.
Sugar Free.
Sugar Free is amazing. How many more I got?
I think that's 7.
7.
Got 3 more.
Damn, this is tough. I like J-Rock.
J-Rock?
Yep.
J-Rock is dope.
J-Rock, though. It's 8. I think he's a lyrical beast. He don't really get his just due, but, you know, he's one of the ones. Crooked Eye.
Crooked Eye.
Yep.
From the Shady family.
And as far as lyricists, I mean, that's a no-brainer. Corrupt.
Corrupt. Kokane, the top 5 or top 10 MCs here on the Infamous Hour. Hit the comment section right now. Let me know how you feel about it. We had an amazing experience, Ms. Gaddam, going to DJ Quick studio, right?
Oh,
and
yeah,
so I went to LA. I actually went to interview Onyx. Went to LA to interview Onyx, and I met Lethal, and he's like, "Yo, I got J.O. Felony around." So I'm like,
"Oh,
hey.
Yeah, wait a minute. Let me not forget about my love, J.O. That nigga's a beast.
That's 11.
You got to do 11, my nigga.
Shout out J.O. Felony. So we went to DJ Quick studio, and he has like this super ultra vibe in his studio where he has live instruments everywhere. Like, you come into the front, it's live instruments in the front, and he has that room we did the interview in. He had the bar, and then you go in the back room, and I felt like I was literally in an analog room, right? Because this is so digital. I mean, if I felt like he was about to pull out like an 8-track, like it was dope. So when it comes to West Coast production, right, in general, we got Quick, we got Dre, we have all these guys. Who is the most underrated West Coast producer? Like, someone who just made an impact, maybe ghosted some beats and they didn't get their credit. Like, who would you be like, you know what, that guy right there?
There's a lot of cats, you know what I mean? Some of the new cats, I mean, when you think in terms of mixing, you know, when it comes to that, the 2 baddest motherfuckers on the West Coast is Dr. Dre and DJ Quick.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then you have cats that is incredible, like Battle Cat, Cole 187, Meech, Rick Rock. lot of incredible cats over there. There's some new cats like West Coast Creation coming together. 1500. I mean, come on, man. It's just a lot of incredible cats, you know, when you talk about that. But if we had to name two people, also Meach Wells incredible. We had to name two people, I would primarily put Dre and Quick in the
Quick.
same thing.
Yeah, Dre and Quick. One of the guys that I like from the West Coast, who no one ever talks about, is A Plus from Hieroglyphics. Yo, I've heard some shits from them, like casual. So they're from the Bay Area, and they got this record that I probably ran that shit for like 3 years every week. And A Plus, because what I like about his shit is like it's almost like East Coast, but it still has the West Coast swing and funk. But one of the things that I appreciate about you, before we wrap up, how the fuck did you amass 4,000 features?
Over 4,100 features.
This guy,
get it right. Get the number right.
Let's get at him. He has 4,100 features.
That's insane. Yeah. Insane.
Well, I never stopped working for the last 30-something odd years. Put it like that, Playboy. And it's, you know, this was my source on making money. So across the board, you know, I don't care what walk of life, what ethnicity you was, whether you Chicano, Puerto Rico, whether you Black, Asian. I was fortunate and blessed that people like this shit that comes out of me. You know what I mean? And a lot of times, you know, that's why I tell people, just keep working, stay consistency, because your creativity will write your own blank check. It don't matter if you ain't getting what you're supposed to get. Stay creative and consistent. And a lot of times I just did a lot of work. It was crumbs on the table. Some shit I did trade off. Some shit I didn't reap the benefit. But then look how God used it and allowed me to use it in an optimistic point of way to where credibility is more precious than gold. And it allowed all that stuff to stack up, man. You can look up now and actually type in and actually do their homework, because I wasn't thinking about being the most featured artist. I just needed to put food on the table, and I enjoyed doing music, and that's what it was. And I was a workaholic. I work. Every year for the last 33 years, I've been working. I never took a vacation. You know what I mean? And it was highs and lows in it. You know what I mean? Some publishing wasn't there. But the whole initial thing is to show the body of work that when I get to a point of my eldership, being an elder, I can not only just show the young generation what it is, you know what I mean, but they can see it hands-on and feel the experience, like, wow, because a lot of people give up before they start. You know what I'm saying? And it's not about that, you know. No one owes you nothing. No one is promised to give you shit. I don't care how talented you are. You know, I just had it in my mind that, hey, whatever I want to do, I want to own them shoes. And it just so years later, I had a strong support team that say, hey, we keeping shit like immunization shots, babe, because this is something, you know, that is going to primarily influence my children. You know, and then inspire other generations just like before us. You know what I mean? So to be on all these features, to actually fact check and look them up, you know, it's just amazing. It's humbling, you know, and it also puts me in a position that I always wanted to be. I just didn't want to make music and be self-loathing. I wanted to be able to inspire very talented young people out there that don't get half the chance that a bubblegum motherfucker do. You know what I mean? But if they can look at a Kokane, and despite all the mystery and mystique, you know, people got to find out, oh, I didn't know that was you. Oh, man, I'm happy to be in that place right here because it's humbling. And at the same time, you know what I mean? That's what hip hop is for. That's what music is for. It's here to inspire people, bro.
Yeah. When you look at your entire catalog, right, and his catalog expands. I mean, he got records with Ab Soul, He was on Dre's 2001 album, East Siders. You were even on one of Tony Ayo's albums.
Tony Yayo, rest in peace, Mobb Deep. Me and Alchemist did something. DMX, Busta Rhymes, George Clinton, Bootsy Collins, cameo. A lot of shit. Jay Dilla.
Jay Dilla.
Act Dre, The Jacker. Who else? It's just a lot of shit, man. A lot of people like, sometimes they play the song, and I ain't on no upper Manhattan or Hollywood shit. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, look, bro, I don't remember that shit.
You were like, oh, I was was I on this shit? Oh yeah.
Yeah. They gotta jog my memory, but that's a good problem to have, man, because
of course
I got the attitude, you know. See, that's one thing that make Jay dope, and I think that make Dre dope, is that no matter how much, you know, equity they gain, they never miss the beat with their skills.
Yeah. And that's so important.
And that's the most important thing, because a lot of people become watered down and they lose their hunger. And, you know, that's what's inspiring to me, is that they can go up to an upper echelon and still keep that shit gangster.
Yeah.
And
still keep it true to their roots. So when you look, the final question, when you look at your entire catalog, right, and obviously you can't remember anything, what is the one thing that you are most proud of? Or maybe like the one memory that went down, you're like, you know what? This is why I did this hip hop shit to begin with.
There's a lot of things, man. Being on NWA, Above the Law, the new record I got out with Cool Rock Ski called Hush.
Hush. We ran that on Shade. I ran that to the ground.
Hey, being able to be blessed by him, and, you know, being able to go to the soil where it was royal, and rest in peace, Prince, Marky D, and Buck Love. You know, being able to be an influence on Nipsey Hussle, the first marathon record started with me, Mr. Untouchable. Being able to be there with Pop. I think more so than the ones that are gone is the most, has the most imprint in my mind, if that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? And it's a lot, man. It's a lot of brothers that just, man, I remember going to New York and me and Prodigy riding through the potholes and shit in the Corvette, just clowning, running up, going up to him and homie D, Spot Rock Riders and shit, and they showing me love, I'm showing them love. It was like, nigga, I like that shit. Nigga, I like that shit, my nigga. And that's what it was about, because at the end of the day, all that rah, 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 rah is only begot more rah, 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 rah. And, you know, for us to come together and knock down some of the walls of division, and those that ain't here, man, that's the most impressionable.
Man, wise words from the OG Kokane. It's going down. So before we get out of here, what do we have coming up? We have this sugar-free cocaine project coming out. And again, looking at it from the East Coast, I didn't really kind of understand how big of a deal this is. This whole, you guys are from the same town, the sugar cane project. So that's coming out. And then what else do we have on the horizon for fans?
Well, this is out right now. I'm gonna send you a care package. You know, I got projects out, but this project in particular is called The Architects of G-Funk. We got it on cassette, fly shit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that stands for Architects of G-Funk. We are the creators of G-Funk, which influences, you already know. You know, if you don't know it, Google it. You know what I'm saying? So this shit is out. And you can get that particular project exclusively at buddyboymusic.com. You spell it B-U-D, E as in Eric, B-O-Y, music.com. You can get it on hard copy. And plus, we got this one, man, is like burning up the charts. Thank you to all the people out there. We're a little bit over 1 million, like 1,300,000-something on the Spotify's. The YouTube's going crazy. We got a cut called Rolling Fatties. And this is off the classic Kokane album that I did In 2000, shortly after I worked on Dr. Dre's Chronic 2001, around the same time, we worked on The Last Meal in East Side. Us. So y'all can see, they got my boy Snoop on there, Misty, Goldie Low, Half Dead, Sugar Free, and some more of it, man. And like I said, man, ain't no expiration date on dope music. The link is in the bio. This is called The White Album from the legendary Kokane. And stay tuned for that Sugar Cane. The P will never be the same, man. Y'all see the Ohio player cover up there, man. We doing it sharper than surgical tools, baby.
Facts.
I mean,
it's all deck. Miss Get Adam, your social media, we want to follow you.
My social media is Miss Gedatem, MRZGETATEM.
That's right. And of course, I'm the infamous Amadeuz. You know where to find me at Sirius XM Shade 45, banging that real hip hop shit. Thursdays, radios at maximum volume. Shout out my big bro, Lord C, who just came back. Shout out to Tone Vieira. Shout out to the loyal citizens of Boom Bap Nation, tapping in each and every week and listening to us talk some real hip hop shit. The next time, be safe, stay COVID-19 free. See you then.